Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and I have spent some time over the past few days refining the Artifact Portalcraft deck, making it as powerful as it can be, making it as consistent as possible, and I think I have a really powerful build of Artifact Portalcraft. I'm very happy with it. I'm excited to share it with you today. Let's jump into the deck builder, and then I'll play some games live with some commentary explaining how the deck works. I'm sure you guys understand already how Artifact Portal plays, but if not, that should help. So let's jump into the deck explanation. Okay, so this is my artifact build. You'll notice I'm not running any catapults. I'm not running 3 of Lovestruck Puppeteer. I'm not running 3 of Ralmir, Orcus, and Odin. In fact, I have only 2 of those, and that's not super common. You often will be seeing 3 of the sort of top end in most people's decks, and you will be seeing the catapult. I don't really like catapult. I think it is too low tempo of a play. It's, you know, the 2 mana card that you can then catapult out your 5 mana artifacts for 3 further mana. So 5 mana to get a self-destructing artifact. I don't think it's worth it when you've got Doomwright, which can do the same thing essentially, but you get 2 versions, so it's, you know, twice as good essentially for the same cost. Yes, the catapult, you can move things between the rounds, you know, you can distribute your mana more effectively potentially, but I don't think it's that good. I think I'd much prefer to be playing my 2 drops out. The Ironheart Hunter, the Carnelia is a great new addition to the artifact archetype. Of course, with the Evolve being an option, I'm not always going to go for that in this deck, but if I do find a Carnelia a bit, in the mid-game, and there's a good opportunity to maybe trade off a unit with her, then I will go for this Evolve potentially, and, put that on one of the 5-drop artifacts. But yeah, I just want to be playing my, artifact recharge ideally on turn 1 into the 2 drops, into the Miriam, into the Alouette coined out perhaps, and then we can follow up with Karula, turn 6, perhaps a Sylvia to get the card draw. I think Sylvia is important. I think card draw is very important. For that reason, I've even put in 1 Olivia, and I think it's really cheeky, and I think it's very strong. Yes, your Super Evos are quite limited, but I feel like with this deck, in certain matchups, you are often able to just drop a board. The opponent may not have much going on. You may be able to bullet from beyond to answer their threat. So you can probably maybe, throw an Olivia down, throw a bullet down, or maybe an Olivia plus a Stream of Life or something like this, Puppeteer, something along those lines to answer their board and get some card draw and some healing going. I think the 1 of Olivia is very cheeky, very nice, because this deck can run out of steam. You've got the Flight of Icarus now, which allows you to draw cards from the artifact that you pop this on, so that's very nice, but in reality, you're not able to push out that many artifacts without the catapult, so this will usually only draw you a few cards throughout a game, probably. So yeah, having a bit of extra card draw is really nice to keep the juice flowing, and you just have a lot of tempo with this deck. You can often go for the beta artifacts and just kill the opponent. So I've been really liking this version. I think it's very optimized. The 2 of Orcus, Ralmir, Odin feels very good because it's like you have this toolbox of your finisher late game cards. You don't have that many Evos to spare, so having, 1 Orcus in hand, 1 Odin, 1 Ralmir, it gives you a nice selection of, okay, which finisher do I need for this particular moment? Where am I going to deploy my Super Evo? Do I even want to put a Super Evo on Sylvia? That's an option. Or an Olivia, that might be an option. So I really like this setup. I think it's pretty optimal. I don't think it's correct to be running 3 of each, as good as those cards are. The Ralmir can sometimes be awkward or difficult to play. The Orcus, likewise, can sometimes not be the exact card you need in the situation. Sometimes the Odin is better because it just banishes what they have on the board and goes straight to the face for 4 or 7 damage. So yeah, I'm very happy with this deck. Let's jump into some games and I can give a bit of commentary and show you how the deck is supposed to play. Swordcraft, first matchup. Conqueror of Infinity, I wonder how you get that. Actually, don't know. Okay, so pretty straightforward. We're just going to mulligan these. We have 2-drop, 3-drop. We hope to find Alouette. We could arguably mulligan the 2, actually, because we have a lot of 2s in the deck, and this will increase the chance of drawing Alouette. I think I'm going to do it, actually. Not something I would necessarily always do. Certainly there's an argument to keep the 2. It's going to keep our curve good, and we might come to regret having mulliganed it, but that's okay. Okay, nothing turn 1. We've just got our 2 into 3 into Alouette, and then we'll see what else we can do. We're probably going to be against some kind of aggro-y version of Swordcraft, I would imagine. Tends to be the more popular thing on the ladder at the moment, I feel. So we need to try to just survive the early game. It looks like we're doing a good job of that so far. Nothing too threatening on the board. And another Alouette also would be a great draw. We're probably going to find something playable. We've got the artifact to recharge. The nice thing about not running 3 ofs on the 8s is you don't too often find a bunch of them and have them clogging up your hand. So I found that's working quite nicely, to be honest. But let's see. Perhaps I should put some up at the background music on. Will I? Nah. Let's sit in silence. Okay. We've got Samurai, that's pretty chill. If they trade, then they're not going to trade. Okay, that's fine. We just get to Alouette, of course. Could probably think about gonna fuse this away anyway, so that's fine. Got Carnelia as well, so that might be our turn 5 play here. After we Alouette, I'm definitely going to take the board clear. It's just efficient into Swordcraft. It's gonna be good, you know. I'm not gonna be sad to be playing that. And in this particular spot, it's also quite nice because it's developing a very strong board that they have to deal with. They can't just go with an Albert to the face or so on turn 5. We get a bit of face damage in as well, which every little helps. At some point we can pivot the game plan from being, you know, defensive to hopefully being a bit more aggressive, trying to kill the opponent, particularly if they're an aggro deck. Once we've gained the board, have enough heals and all this kind of thing, then should be okay. So, decisions will have to be made here. I might want to drop the artifact. The problem is, we then won't have a good Karula the turn after, which is, you know, not the most ideal thing. I can go with Carnelia, but she doesn't really clear all that effectively here. I think, you know, I think the play might be... It's a little counterintuitive, but I think the play is going to be evolving Miriam and playing out the Ominous. It seems a bit too good not to, right, to clear this board completely. The evolve, we get face damage, but more importantly, we're going to be able to deploy the healing artifact with Karula next turn, which I think can be a very good play to just deal with what, you know, what the opponent's threatening us with. I suppose I'll take this one. Actually, it might be better to take the damaging artifact, as strange as that sounds. The rush. You never know when you're going to need a little bit of damage to deal with what the opponent's doing. So we managed to stabilize here, I want to say, reasonably well. Gildaria. We are putting the opponent pretty low, is the thing. So if we're able to just Orcus them, that can be a pretty solid finisher for us. Let's see here. We could potentially play Carnelia. We're not forced into playing the Karula, but I do like Karula here. I think it's a pretty good play. We could even just play it to clear without using a Super Evo, but I am a fan of the Super Evo play, to be honest. Let's use it. That being said, we won't quite have enough damage to kill. So actually, you know what? Odin is sort of a pretty interesting line here as well. Perhaps I should have thought about that before fusing. That's my mistake. I certainly should have thought about that. Yeah, I think Odin was actually the correct play because then I could follow up with Beta Artifact to kill the opponent. But now I'm probably a little bit forced into the Karula line, which is not exactly ideal. I hope it will be alright. I'm sure it will be. This probably wasn't the line there. I'm pretty sure. Yes, we put a threat on the board, but we're not really threatening lethal. So I'm not very happy with this line. I think pointing out that Odin would be better. We could deal 7 damage to the face, put them, you know, pretty low. And threaten the Orcus finisher in a couple of turns. Failing that, you just play a Beta Artifact. And you'll probably feel pretty good. Yeah, this play gets a bit punished by a, you know, Geno or so. They might not have it. And certainly this is a threat they have to deal with. So again, it's not the end of the world for us probably, because they're not going to be able to, you know, effectively go face. Since we're against aggro, it's okay. If we're against mid-range, we want to be trying to kill them ASAP, really, because they can just grind me down and cause some real problems. So yeah, here the Odin is not very good for them. They probably have to trade, otherwise we just win. But they might decide, you know what, I need to go for it. Obviously, we do just win if they trade, and we can then play Odin next turn anyway. So it looks like we're going to be okay. Yeah, I'll be playing Odin here, not going to think about that really. It's Technically, we could play the Orcus, I suppose, as well. Really make much of a difference, but I think aggro decks we can really bash with this deck. It's got a very good matchup into aggro because you have the tools to deal with what they're doing. You can clear the board, you can heal back up very easily. A lot of healing in this deck. You know, we've even got the Olivia, which might be a bit overkill, but Olivia, Sylvia, all this kind of stuff. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think that's one of the main reasons to play this deck, is because you have good matchup into aggro. For sure. Okay, so the game's getting dragged out a bit. To be fair, they had the healing, so perhaps things could have been a bit wonky if I played the Odin. I'd point out that Odin, it wouldn't have been the end of the world by any means, but something to think about. Let's just play. I suppose we should try to set up lethal. But that being said, you know, Carnelia is sort of something I would like to deal damage here, so I think playing a Doomwright would be sensible. So I'll go with the. Can we even play a Doomwright? Not really. I guess no, it's not very feasible. That's fine. We just do some setting up here, I think. We're being honest, the longer the game goes, really, the better it is for us anyway, so we could even play a ward out, I suppose, but don't think there's a need to do that, really. It's getting a little bit grindy. I mean, I'm a little bit afraid of cards like Amalia and such. They probably aren't running that if they're running the, you know, the quick step and things like this. It's a much more aggro-y card. The Odin as well, the tentacles, usually you won't see that in a mid-range deck, right? So we can make a fair read that they probably don't have the very top end 8 mana, you know, plays that you might normally see in a mid-range Swordcraft deck. So we'll see. We're threatening the lethal, they have to clear this, and then we've got Ramia potentially, or maybe just Doomwright to set up some kind of a finisher. You can do double Doomwright, which is quite a nasty play as well. Again, this is not a very good answer, is it? You have to trade the Odin in here, it feels pretty bad. If you have to use a Super Evo, it also feels pretty damn bad. So that's lovely. But yeah, opponent's a little bit trickier to kill than you would think. They've just decided to go for it at this point, say, okay, do you have an Orcus? Orcus or no? Orcus, Orcus is always 8, so don't really need to worry here. Well, she's not always 8, but if you can kill a unit with her and deal base damage with the rest, then it is 8 damage. Very nice. So we will take a quick win there. Well, not so quick. Could have been faster. Let's jump into the next game. Okay, I got some kind of mirror match here, perhaps. Hopefully we can you know, get value from the particular build that we're running. Let's see. We're going first. I really do want to keep Alouette. I think that card is very solid. I am going first, so it's a little bit less solid, but let's do something like this. Maybe not going to be the best. We can't necessarily rely on drawing the absolute nuts with the 1-drop as well every time. Love Struck. Okay, that's sort of interesting. I maybe just play that here. Maybe just play that. We're going to play Miriam next, so we'll have enough for Alouette anyway, and this gives us the option of, you know, maybe killing a UD or something like this, if they have that. Miriam and hit face. Their Alouette will come first, which is always a bit spooky. Okay, they're trading. I do have 2 2s, which is nice. We've got something we can do there. So I'll do a bit of fusing and play these out. I don't think I'm that concerned that the Carnelia won't be doing all that much. I mean, there is an argument here to actually play Ironheart Flight. I kind of like it, actually. I do kind of like it. I'm going to do it. Because it's going to give us the option to, you know, potentially play the Carnelia later with this. And getting the flight down before Alouette, it feels very good, right? It feels very strong. Also don't really want to play into their Alouette board clear. That would feel a bit rough. Whereas here we can, you know, if they go for damage to the face, we can clear the damage, we can kill everything with the puppet. It's really good for me. And that's typically the play they go for. It's more intuitive than going for a heal here, I think. Okay, perfect. Clear both of these, we heal up back to 20. So right now we're in a great position. This is basically as good as it can go, I think. Gonna have a solid board, more health, and even card draw from the artifact as well, which, I mean, doesn't get much better than this, to be honest. Like, we've got the better, you know, got the better of them in the early game here, for sure. And I do think in the mirror match, taking the heal artifact is usually better, because it's a bit more sturdy than the, you know, the other one. Okay, Carnelia comes down. We can potentially do our own Carnelia. We did draw Doomright, so it's sort of making sense to do that. The question is, oh, another Doomright, okay. Yeah, I think Carnelia is good. The question is, do we throw it on this artifact or a different one? That's the difficult question. That's the million-dollar question. It's probably worth throwing everything onto the one we've already put the Icarus on, I think. But there's an argument to do it on a different guy, you know, give ward to the beta artifact or so. But I think giving a ward to this one's also nice. It's quite a sturdy guy. We'll make this play. Well, you know, matching them on Evos, so I'm not too concerned. Using the Evo I think is reasonable. A lot of gears here. We can actually play the Miriam as well, which is beautiful. And fuse, most likely, I think, into the board clear. Then again, there's an argument to go for the other one. We have to make that decision now, you know, it's... yeah, I think I'll keep the optionality. You know, we've also got Striker, so if we need to clear stuff, depending on the most efficient way. Obviously, I then lack the ability to deal damage to the face, which is not great news. I think it's fair to say that typically in the mirror, base damage approach can be punished. Can definitely be punished. As hopefully we'll be, you know, maybe able to do in this game. So we've got Doomright into stream. I mean, that's just beautiful, isn't it? It's just beautiful. I've also got Karula, but I don't want to use the Super Evo if I can avoid it. And here I can avoid it very nicely. Is it even better to take the other one? No, it's just good to take this. It's the power of the Icarus. So how do we do this exactly? Wait, did I do it wrong? Oh, wait. Oh, my maths is a little bit scuffed here. I guess I need to super evolve this. Or, yeah, that was miscalculations. I forgot this had ward. I thought I could just bash it. Troubles. Okay, my bad. It's not the end of the world, but I guess I have to trade in here or there. Kind of not ideal. I probably should have just played Karula, right? That's a misplay. Oopsie. Oopsie daisy. Not the end of the world, but yeah, that was suboptimal for sure. I miscalculated. For some reason I thought I could kill what they had going on. Or I guess maybe I was thinking the artifact would die at the end of the turn. I don't know. I don't know what my brain did. But I messed up. That's okay. We all make mistakes. At least, you know, the early game, you know, good situation that we found ourselves in has given us a bit of room, shall we say. So that's good news. I should have fused him as well. Gosh, I'm not playing this right at all. This is... oh. Okay, luckily you cannot kill this with Bane. So actually it ended up kind of being good to for Perhaps. Okay, a bit of a messy game. I gotta say, that was a bit of a messy game. My bad. Let's play another one to redeem ourselves, eh? Another Swordcraft matchup. Not the most varied.
We have much to discuss. With
Not the most varied. Okay, let me get rid of this stuff. We've got the one drop. I think I'll keep that. Light Vicaress is... I don't think it's a keep, but it is a good card. I'm happy with Artifact Recharge because the best time to play it is always turn 1, realistically. Self-explanatory, isn't it? You know, you want to get your mana used up every turn. Let's see if this is aggro again, or maybe it'll be something a bit different. It might be mid-range sword. I think mid-range sword is a bit of a tougher matchup, actually. Bit of a tougher matchup. Grimnir. It's kind of annoying here. Can't really break through it. They are going to have to trade off themselves, I think. Because they're going to be afraid of, you know, allowing this to evolve. It's not really something you're supposed to do. But yeah, Grimnir getting the value against my guys. I'm a bit afraid we might have to just play out, you know, a Gamma artifact. Clear the board. Is it Gamma? I don't know. I can't remember. it's one of them. It's one of the kinds. We might need to clear this because an Alouette would be lovely here, but we don't have it, so... Could also Miriam. And I think perhaps I should just Miriam because we take a lot of damage though. It's quite rough. But then we'll have 6 into 6. We'll have Karula maybe for a clear, into Sylvia for heal. So I shouldn't die necessarily. I don't think we can afford to just play out the artifact. That's not really a great play, unfortunately. We could evolve the Miriam even. I think I will. And that's sort of the good thing here. We do get a lot of artifacts, so we're going to be able to be, you know, flexible in what we do. And, you know, if we take 4 damage, it's not too bad. Like, be at 12, we can heal that back up. I think it's not the end of the world. I'll fuse this for the healing artifact. That will probably come in handy. Okay. Actually quite stable even without the Alouette, because they're not playing aggro, you know? They're playing more slower paced deck. So we need to just go for value. In this particular game. Okay, Luminous. That is perfectly okay. Particularly if they don't evolve. If they do, it's a little bit annoying, isn't it? I think I'm still going to go with Karula though. It demands an answer. I'm not that worried about my health right now. Sylvia doesn't feel like an acceptable answer to this board. So we leave up a 3/4, but it can't be evolved, so it's not that threatening. It's a bit annoying because they can do, you know, some tricks with this for sure. Next time we have got Sylvia super evolved, so that should clear up most of the problems, and then we've got Ralmir coming. Ralmir into Ralmir is pretty strong. That is sort of, you know, something you like to see with this deck in this matchup probably. A little bit concerning. Alouette's sort of a key card, right? If you don't find her, then... I was running the Ancient Cannon at some point in the deck as well. That's an option. Yeah, it looks like we have to Sylvia here to clear, which I'm not thrilled about, but not sure we can Sylvia with a normal evolve, so that's actually pretty nice, pretty good news. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna heal as well, I think. I want to get out of the danger zone. And then we've got Ralmir's coming, so I think we're in a pretty good spot actually. Ralmir boards are not the easiest thing to answer for the opponent. They've got the Gildaria, of course, which does do something. This gets answered by Ralmir very, very effectively, so I'm happy with that. Do we go with the 5-1 or do we go with the 1-5 is the question here. So what are the upside to either? They're on 8 mana. The ward makes it probably just a bit more difficult to answer the key threats. I mean, it should be the ward, right? I think that makes sense. Just makes life probably more difficult for the opponent. And then we can decide whether or not to super evolve this. We don't have to. In fact, it might be better not to. You know, they got maybe Amalia coming. Trades 2 in here, 2 in here, and then kill with the Amalia. I don't think we care that much about that. I think saving the Super Evo is nice. And adding the Super Evo I don't think achieves that much. They're still going to be able to clear mostly with an Amalia. So I think saving Super is good. You know, perhaps we can Super the next Realmia that we play and use it to actually clear something, for example. Let's see what we go for here. Might have to be a Sylvia. I'm sort of okay with the Sylvia, you know, get some card draw going, perhaps keep the juice flowing. Orcus is an option. So Sylvia or Orcus, what do we prefer? Well, if we're using a Super Evo, it kind of feels good to play Orcus. Because the card's not that great without Super Evo. So it'd be 4 face damage, and we have a pretty scary board. Yeah, I think I like the Orcus. They're down to one Super Evo, so that's pretty good for us. I'm not gonna focus on pushing the damage, obviously. We'll do 3 damage, I think that's the way to do it. We could, I guess, have done 3 less damage, but at some point I do need to try to kill the opponent. Perhaps with the big artifact at the end here. The masterpiece. We need 2 more. So a bullet from beyond would perhaps be the best way to do it, or Alouette, get those gears into hand. Can be okay. But yeah. You're seeing sort of the reason I don't run Catapult, I hope, in these games. It's like, when would you really play the Catapult? You're then sacrificing the early game. You're, you know, maybe taking a bit more damage to play it. I don't know that it's... Maybe it would have been good in this game, to be fair, because we missed Alouette. This play I'm quite happy to see. They've got no more Super Evolve. That's good news. Means we are a lot healthier. It's a lot harder for us to die. We can maybe drop a Realmia now. Or even an Alouette. I do want to set up the Master work if I can. But, you know, Realmia looks pretty good. It looks like it would be hard to answer. I'm scared, you know, if I don't develop a threatening board, then the Amalia from the opponent can be very troublesome. So I think it probably has to be Realmia. It's a pretty clean answer to what they're doing. And a big threat, of course. The worry comes, what do we do next turn? At least we'll have Doomright, so we can maybe do Doomright Alouette to clear something. That could be reasonable. Yeah, this board is a bit of a nightmare for them without a Super Evolve. Like, best would probably be a Geno plus Samurai or something like this. But we're just about on time. This matchup I think can be very hard if you don't quite have your answers at the right time. If I don't have my Realmias, it can be difficult. If we don't, you know, find the Alouette. I mean, it wasn't too much of a problem this game, but yeah, this is not a very effective solution to the problems that we're posing. So of course, going to need to trade here, but they're deciding, do I want to take 9 damage or 11 damage? They're going to take 11 damage. So now is certainly our chance to assemble the masterpiece, the masterwork. I think we will take that opportunity. Is it even lethal? I can't see one, unfortunately. We could put their health even lower if we wanted. I think just playing another Alouette is reasonable. Shouldn't really be a problem. 12 health is more than enough. I'm not scared of that dying. Don't worry about that. Just setting up the big guy at the end. And again, Amelia doesn't really solve the problems. So it's not a good solution here for the opponent, with all the evolves gone. Arguably in this matchup they should maybe save Evos? I don't know. They use them aggressively, right? At least they use one of them aggressively on the Lancer, which arguably didn't really achieve much. So maybe that's where it went a little bit wrong for the opponent. We can either use the Masterwork here, or we can just simply bring in a little bit of Doom right. We have lethal 300 ways this scenario, so nice. Good win. Good win into mid-range sword. Don't think it's the easiest matchup this one, but which is kind of bizarre. You'd imagine it should be. But I think that's going to do it for me, guys. Unfortunately, we didn't see a huge spread of matchups, but I hope that the deck sort of looking good, and you can appreciate the power. Definitely feels very consistent to me. I think that's the main upside of this particular build I've got going on. It feels very, very consistent. And good in a range of matchups. So I like this deck a lot. I think it's one of the better decks in the meta. Probably in S tier if I had to rate it. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. Subscribe as always for more videos. See you next time.